Welcome to the UFTA Network News. It's time for the podcast and interviews. Hey, Charlie, what do we got going on today?
Well, we have our friend Danae here. If you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Danae, a current student here at Winona State that happens to be hanging out over the summer.
So our topic today is we have a video, probably up on our website by now, about with an interview with Joe Reed talking about renovations and the smog over the summer. And as a current student here on campus or off campus, but you come on campus occasionally, whatever, we want to talk to you about other renovations that's going on. Like, what are your thoughts and your opinions on the stuff that's going on in the smog and the landscaping that's happening? I know when we walked in today, Charlie, like there was people working by the gazebo or whatever.
Yeah, definitely
doing
hard at
something.
work.
But there's been a lot of projects recently on campus. The tunnels are still going, which we've all heard about the problems and whatnot, but at least it's coming along. And last year or 2 years ago, we had the new Baldwin Lounge opened up, and we got Einstein's and Caribou moved into Thompson, and now we're getting a Starbucks and a Panda, and everything's kind of changing. So we just wanted to know, what do you think?
I think it's pretty awesome that we've got so much going on campus. It's going to be nice to have some more food options and to have a nice swanky looking smog. It's kind of sad right now. It's cool all that they have going on around campus as far as
The landscaping.
landscaping.
There's
there
the
we
word.
go. Okay.
All the grass tends to die over the winter, and all the salt that's put on the sidewalks, it definitely tears up grass
edges.
that's growing, the edges of the sidewalk. So they definitely always tear that up and plant new seeds. And
Yeah, it's wild seeing how much is going on because we have such a gorgeous campus. You don't think about all the upkeep that is necessary for that.
It used to be roads going through here. Like, we were literally like 4 blocks. Before the podcast, we were talking about how it's just like 4 blocks and there's a lot of food here now, which is cool, but it used to just be streets. Could you imagine no sidewalks and having to cross a street to get to your next class and whatnot? Like, that's so weird. But that's all landscaping projects that they did 1 year or over a course of 5 years. I forget how long it took, but just to think, like, that's the scope of the projects that they do. Sometimes it's little, like planting trees or new grass, but for the most part, things are pretty big. New trees, new art projects going in, fountains being built or whatever. Yeah,
and even like what Joe Reed said, sometimes they're really, really big projects, but they're split into smaller subsets.
years. Yeah.
So the smog, Einstein bagels, and Caribou and all of that, those were all part of one big project, but they were split up into different summers.
Art was one big thing that Joe talked about. Joe likes to put up, you can see this video again on our website, but Joe was talking about he uses student artwork. Every year, I guess the seniors get to have like a senior art showing. I don't know what the actual term would be, but he goes and he looks at all of their art, and he takes some of his people that work for him or whatever in the student union, and they look at all this art and they decide, can we use this piece? Because then they'll actually buy the art pieces from the seniors and put it up in the student union. You've probably noticed that the big American flag that was done after 9/11 that's on the doors on the other side.
Huff Street.
Huff Street. There we go. Huff Street. Like, as you go out those doors, there's a big American flag. That was made by a student as a memorial to 9/11, which is pretty cool. That's the biggest piece that I can think of.
Wow,
but that's a project that he does, and he buys that with student union money. We learned the other day on the video that you can see is that the student union is self-funded. It's all like people who work in his building, like the bookstore or like student senate, has to pay rent to actually have their offices there or their businesses there, and then they use that money to fund themselves. So even though this renovation in the smog might cost however millions of dollars, it's not our tuition money that's going towards it. It's the student union money, their own budget, that is paying for it, which I thought was pretty cool. I don't know about landscaping though, but I'm okay if my money pays for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say you want a pretty campus to look at. You don't want it to be all run down and gross looking.
I mean, I like squirrels and birds. So
and if it's not upkept, then there will be no squirrels or birds because they'd find somewhere prettier.
No. You want to talk about the tunnels? What are your thoughts on that?
That was an interesting little disaster. It's awesome that they're building the tunnels with just the sheer amount of accidents that happen with the trains. That's cool that they were doing something to make that a little bit safer, but I feel like they kind of rushed into it. They could have maybe thought it through a little bit more, considering we literally have buildings cracking.
Oofda, final thoughts. Doo-doo.
I think all in all the stuff we have going on campus is spectacular. It's cool that they're doing so much and that they're managing to cram this all into such a small amount of time.
There
That's
we go.
been the final thoughts. Oofda.